workers rally against the new industrial relations laws. A huge Category 5 cyclone bearing down on Western Australia. And a nail-biter in the cricket as Australia wins the second test against South Africa.
National 9 News with Georgie Gardner.
Good morning. The union movement is refusing to give up the fight against the Howard government's new workplace laws, staging a rally this morning in the heart of Melbourne. They claim a number of workers have already been sacked as a result of the laws. And joining us now from Melbourne is 9 reporter Nick Coe. Nick, good morning to you. Has there been a strong turnout?
Georgie, good morning. There's been something like 900 or 1,000 union delegates into the Dallas Brooks Hall here behind me to be briefed by union officials about what these changes to the industrial relations laws will actually mean. Now, what this meeting is about is to send them back to the workplaces and explain to their members what the changes will mean for them ahead of a mass rally on the streets of Melbourne on Wednesday, June the 28th. Now, a similar rally this time, late last year, I should say, attracted somewhere in the region of 120,000 marchers. Union organisers are expecting twice that many on June the 28th, and this is a critical step in gathering support for that march. ACTU Secretary Greg Combay was one of the people to address the meeting here, which is still going on behind me, and he had a message for Prime Minister John Howard.
I want to know if you're ready for a fight. Yes, because I am, the ACTU is, and we're ready around the country.
Nick, the new laws, of course, came into effect on Monday, and we're already hearing of several cases where employers have taken advantage of the new laws. Tell us about the case in Melbourne.
Well, Georgie, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, several dozen members of the Australian Nurses Federation Victorian branch will hold a stop work meeting. They're employed, in fact, by St Vincent de Paul at an aged care facility here in Melbourne. Now, under the new IR laws, although they'll only stop work for 1 hour, they can be and will be docked 4 hours of pay. Now, that's the first time, or will be the first time, that nurses have been docked pay since the infamous dispute, the 50-day dispute back in 1986. Union officials say that that is just a portent of what may be coming in future months, and that it is their responsibility to brief other workers that they may also be susceptible to those kind of measures. Georgie.
All right, Nick Coe, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
In Canberra, Labor's been frustrated in its attempt to force a new debate in Parliament on the government's workplace changes, and political correspondent Tim Lester joins us now from our Parliament House Bureau. Tim, what exactly was Labor seeking to do?
Georgie, it had moved to disallow the regulations that give effect to the government's workplace laws. Now, the government repeatedly used its numbers on the floor of the House to, in effect, gag the debate. It will have to engage this debate within 15 sitting days, but that potentially pushes the debate out to mid-June, by which time the government will hope much of the heat has gone out of the issue. For now, though, it's very much a talking point around Parliament. Here's a taste of some of the things that were being said on unfair dismissals around the House this morning.
When they change the speed limits on the road, the police don't wait a month to go and catch you, do they? I mean, they're out there the next day.
Under John Howard's extreme industrial relations proposals, you can be sacked unfairly, for any reason or no reason.
So, Tim, is industrial relations now the main issue for Labor in its attack on the government?
Yes, it is, Georgie. There's been a marked shift in Labor's strategy during this one-week sitting period. For the first 3 sitting weeks of the year, every time a Labor member stood up in question time, it was on the wheat bribery scandal. Not now. Industrial relations is taking pride of place. But that said, the AWB wheat scandal is still turning up some surprising and tempting evidence, like yesterday when it came up that perhaps one of John Howard's senior advisors had told AWB that its evidence to the Volker inquiry should be kept narrow and technical, and it should question the process, completely at odds with the Prime Minister's claim that he ordered full cooperation. Here was Kevin Rudd's response to that this morning.
The challenge for the Prime Minister is to confirm whether in fact that's accurate, because this comes 4 months after the Prime Minister sends out his supposed edict to the government to render full cooperation to Volker, both by his own government officials and by the AWB.
So while industrial relations might be the #1 issue for Labor, there's still some tempting issues elsewhere to take on board.
Indeed. Tim Lester, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A landmark step in the clean-up after Cyclone Larry, with Innisfail High School reopening today, the last of 156 schools affected by the cyclone to resume classes. New furniture and laptops have been sent to schools that lost everything. Senior students are returning today, and if everything goes to plan, junior students will follow later in the week. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Howard says the government's relief package is open to change, following criticism that it's inadequate. Well, the devastation caused by Larry is making a lot of people nervous on the other side of the country after Cyclone Glenda was upgraded overnight to a massive Category 5 storm. Glenda is currently 350 kilometres north of Port Hedland, packing winds of up to 300 kilometres an hour. And joining us now by phone is Jim Carl from Emergency Services in Port Hedland. Jim, good morning. My understanding is Glenda's headed for the Pilbara region. Precisely where and when is she expected to hit the coast?
Good morning, Georgie. Yes, basically the Pilbara coast is on a warning at the moment because cyclones being slightly unpredictable. It's very difficult to say exactly where and when.